Bust 3 shots for the purge, never cheap shots for the purge. You taking cheap shots for the burn? We got the streets watching the purge, making we hot in return. Haters on the sideline, keep watching, observe. Keeping company with ops on the curb. We not for the herbs like celery, rocking the burbs. Brother, we clocking and earn, locking and turn.
No disguise. It makes no sense. It doesn't fit. If it doesn't fit, you must acquit.
In a world where everyone mourns the loss of a titan, OJ, we barely knew you, but while you were here, you were killing it.
Yeah! Once again, the purge of the BS must begin. So as usual, you already know we got a lot to cover this week. It just is what it is. As always, the BS is piled up and must be excavated. So as usual, I gotta call my boys. Bricks, Bravo, gentlemen, would you please join me in another purge of the BS?
Please. Of course. In the spirit of OJ, I'll make that run with you.
You know what? If we're gonna start there. We're gonna start right there.
Why not?
Mr.
I heard the funeral procession was in a Bronco down to 5.
No.
Slowly.
You know, let's peel that onion just a little bit.
They didn't really look like
OJ
they wanted
did some
to catch
peeling
him that day. It was like an 8-lane highway. The cops were in a straight line following slowly behind this Bronco. OJ's in there sipping coffee just like it's a normal Friday.
Right, reserving tea times.
That wasn't exactly what happened according to police records.
I was watching it on TV, so according to my eye records, it was just
right. According to my iris,
it was a slow ass chase, wasn't it?
Yeah, like nobody thought to tip the back of the car, and like
right.
They didn't want to hurt.
It was like Grand Theft Auto brought to you by the Golden Girls.
Yeah, it wasn't really a chase. It was just I don't know what to call it, but it captivated the eyes of America at the time.
Right.
It actually did.
Okay.
And I don't know if you guys. I know you guys remember, but we watched that trial like it was TV. It was on every day.
Yeah.
We were in college at the time.
I think to speak to what you were saying, they didn't want to hurt him because they wanted him to get the death. They wanted it to be something that sticks. But I think it was
little did they know.
No. Let's peel this onion. I like where you're taking me with this right off the top, because the reason why OJ didn't go to jail is because they charged him with the wrong thing, and they had to try to prove the wrong case. That was Marsha Clark. She was not having it with he was just involved.
Right.
She had to prove he was the one that did it. Mm-hmm. So that's why that whole glove not fitting and all that other stuff made. That's how he got off.
I do beg to differ, though.
Paid in the civil case.
I think he won because Johnny Cochran and the Dream Team ended up putting the LAPD on trial rather than OJ, because that's coming right off of Rodney King, bro. Come on, bro. That was the smartest move ever.
Someone asked me the question earlier whether I thought that the world had changed significantly between the time and the polarization of the OJ thing and currently. And my answer was not really. I believe that we've learned a lot and we're able to see a lot more. But as far as the always underlying, I don't want to call it fear. I want to call it caution. That's probably it. Because you never know who you're dealing with.
Well, see, back then, police officers were beating people unmercifully, but
no checks and balances.
Survive the beatings. Now they're just killing.
Well,
I would say this before you go. As soon as OJ won, I think it was summed up in one of the greatest movies of all time, Dumb and Dumber.
Right.
So you're saying there's a chance.
That's all it takes.
You know what I mean?
The murder trial.
That's why black people were happy. We knew he killed the folks. Allegedly, I guess. He's dead. You don't have to say allegedly no more.
You must say allegedly because we don't know. What we do.
Well, he did.
know.
Didn't he admit to killing him?
No, he didn't. He just played with it.
He just made a book that had a play-by-play. If I did it, this is how it would have been done. That's
how I would have done it.
Right.
And y'all
it was a play-by-play.
Yeah, but it wasn't the same thing. It was.
Can you imagine being at the Hall of Fame, like the security guard there, and OJ sneaking in and falling through the ceiling or some shit that day? Like, no, that's really Jay.
The best thing about it is that you remember after he got out of prison for doing that robbery with the old man gang, right? Going and trying to steal his memorabilia back. He moved to Florida. And I was just like, okay, of course, people, go to Florida. People who are ducking shit, they go to Florida. It's fine. Really? But I did not realize why he went to Florida. Do you know Ron Goldman didn't get no money because civil forfeiture is not impressed in Florida under certain laws?
Okay, true. I don't know what any of that means. So explain to the fans.
So the civil case that the man who got killed with Goldman, who got killed with Nicole Simpson, the man, the boyfriend. That she was jumping with.
I think he was the limo driver though.
Yeah, but she was definitely jumping. She was definitely jumping with old boy.
Of course that.
Yeah, but the thing is that the father sued OJ for millions. Mm-hmm. Right? Then he did some finagling and said, I'm not getting any money. I don't have any income. He was just, I got the stipend from the NFL, blah, 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 blah. And then he went to prison. As soon as he got out of prison, he went to Florida where that civil forfeiture shit can't claw back any money. That's some OJ stayed winning. I'm sorry, he's an evil dude, but he stayed winning though.
I have to say,
was he still getting royalties from like the Naked Gun and all of that shit?
Yes. They never proved that he did anything.
The civil suit doesn't have to.
Right. The civil suit just said he had something to do with it.
Right.
And he probably did. He was OJ. He had enough money to pay somebody else to do it.
Right.
Like, why would he be like, I gotta do it myself? No, he would have paid somebody else.
Yeah, he put that glove on and did a Thanos. Fine, I'll do it myself.
Come on, man. The dude was the isotoner spokesperson. He had a whole closet full of gloves that fit. Why would he put on some? No, he paid somebody. That we all know that. They just wanted him to be the guy.
I think
Marsha Clark wanted him to. Nah, man, I'm telling you right now, Marsha Clark wanted him so bad. If you see the movie, they were all like, maybe we should take this other angle. She was like, nah, I'm going to make an example.
She was trying to force him straightener to get that perm out of her hair. That's what that was.
Yeah, well, it was her fault. If you watch the little biopic they did about the shit, it was her fault. They could have charged him with the other shit that he ended up having to pay for through that civil case.
And what was the black dude, Chris Darden? Was that the black dude working?
Everybody, and that's they brought him in to be a voice of reason. He was supposed to be the lead.
See, what you don't understand here, Marsha, is that he's a black man, and I have skills in these matters.
I have a set of talents.
You can't handle the truth.
So, OJ really did take that to the grave. We don't know. I'm gonna say that right now. I don't know. I mean, there's a chance, like you said.
Remember that sentiment when we talk about any of our next clips over here? Like, oh, we don't know. We don't know.
Right. I don't know. I mean, I know what I saw when I watched the shit, and the glove did not fit, so I must have quit.
Oh, you know what he did to make them gloves not fit, right? He was doing hand exercises, eating a whole bunch of salt.
Man, come on, man. You're reaching now.
No, this is all
doing hand exercises.
Yes.
Bravo, really?
No, yes.
Man. I'm not gonna fit that glove. I ain't gonna fit it
because that is not written anywhere.
All right, fine. Fine. All right, don't. Here's the thing. There are two reasons. Two reasons why. One, he was doing everything he could not to fit them gloves. Another one is that they never took the plastic, the neoprene gloves off his hands to fit into those leather gloves. Also, those leather gloves were sitting in evidence, caked with shit, so they already shrunk. So there's a whole bunch of shit so they knew. They knew it wasn't gonna fit, so that's why they did that dog and pony show. They did it. They walked into that willingly.
Literally like this when he was trying.
Right.
But see,
can't get it
this is
up.
the thing. This is look, now. I will add there is some validation to the fact that he did have another.
Man,
glove.
I've been trying to get my hands strong for years, man.
Right, and
It's just your hands are what you got.
right.
All you have to do is become a world recognized running back.
But he was
Trick.
already that. The man had a closet full of fitting isotoners.
That's a huge
Why would-
bitch.
If you're gonna kill your wife, don't you want to be comfortable when you do it? Why would you want to wear some too small ass gloves? I'm just saying.
When I
know?
murder in luxury.
That's all I'm saying. You got a closet full of those. Why would you? And the other piece was they never found DNA inside the glove. So whoever had them on did.
No,
have
because they
something
were
on
good gloves. You're not
Nah,
supposed to
man,
find it
that
inside.
should be your fingers. There's skin. There's under your fingernails. All that be in the gloves, man.
If you're
So
gonna kill somebody, kill them in Corinthian leather.
That's the only way I'll do it.
That's the only way.
got-
the only way civilized people murder.
Yeah.
I got 3 words. We
Yeah.
don't know.
Keep that sentiment. So,
And he took it to the grave.
God did.
He
God
took it
did.
to the grave. So we don't know what happened after that, but he took that to the grave because we still really don't know.
Well, if I get to heaven and he ain't dead, and we all know.
what did that African pastor say?
I'm going to hell.
If you get to heaven and you do not see me there, you have gone to hell.
Simple. So, guys, since we're into some shit, we gotta
Is this
address
the segue to the baddie of the week? Oh, okay, my bad.
No. We about to get there. We about to get there because we're not going to spend much more time on this. But we had to talk about Orenthal Simpson. Okay,
Yes.
we had to, and now it's done. So he took it to the grave, and it is what it is. We'll never know how many licks it takes to get to the middle of the Tootsie Roll Pop.
Of a juicy
And
Nicole
we'll
Simpson.
never know. Yeah, and we'll never know if
I
he
didn't
really
find
did.
her all that attractive. I think she looked kind of manly.
She had a very
but
strong
that's-
jaw.
Yes.
You know what? She did. She did.
She looked
I
like her lineage was half Lego.
Yeah, but she's, rest in peace as well, man. That
Right.
whole thing was
In
crazy.
peace.
Did you say she's resting in pieces? Did you just say that?
No,
I thought he
said
did.
rest in peace
Uh-huh.
as well.
Run the
As
tape.
well.
Yo, stabbing is
You're
so
right.
brutal, yo. Like you.
Okay, see, I was trying to move
But that's
out of
that's why Jamaican posses took over New York, because they weren't
Yeah.
shooting people. They were running around the streets with machetes and shit.
Man, I seen this clip where this
Flaring
dude
like a
got-
pack of hemorrhoids.
this dude got attacked. This dude got attacked by a guy with a machete, and he literally survives the attack because people come to his aid, and then he slips on some chicken grease. It's funny as hell.
Don't
And-
tell me that's what killed him.
No, he didn't die. It just was funny that he survives this machete, but he can't walk the Popeyes floor because there's so much grease on it. It's just,
That's horrible.
and it's pretty bad, but it's a viral clip right now. I
Wow.
saw it. It's pretty funny. So
Machetes,
Nonetheless.
stabbings, and stuff sound fun. But anyway, you were saying
Let's
Yeah,
talk
so-
about fine women.
well, we
no. We have to talk
know
about
what?
the comments.
I'm joking.
just very quickly we have to rescind briefly, but not quite,
You might.
regarding the J. Cole situation that we spake of last week.
Oh yes. Speak.
Yes. Because just after we released our episode about the whole project and the beef and so on and so forth, J. Cole comes out and apologizes for what he did in beefing. So
Say it with me now. Certified
Certified super soft. The culture is upset right now, and that's the BS.
Well,
Do
not
come
all
out
of the
there.
culture.
What part of the game is this?
Nah.
There's a
man,
lot
this
of
is
people
not
that
what we
say,
do.
you know what?
Nope.
He's a big
I'm
deal.
not saying that you have to agree with me, but there are a lot of people that are saying, nah, that's real man shit.
It is. You know what? I'm doing this just to play it up. But I do like the fact that he spoke on it, calmed down the waters. You know what I mean? But the thing is that he apologized And K-Dot still said it's the big me. So it's uneven at this point.
but I will say this. All of that was, and I don't know, did Drake and them drop today? Because they said they were going to drop today.
Well, this is.
But it's all some light skin shit. And I'm gonna tell you why it's some light skin shit.
Talk about a break.
Them's wasn't fighting words.
Nope.
They weren't fighting words. What Kendrick said wasn't fighting words.
That's normal MC shit.
It is. Now what was fighting words is when he was going,
Look.
Because his lack of extravagant bars is what made J. Cole jump out the window. All he said is the big.
Let me help. Can I throw a little something extra on this cake?
I think you should.
Okay. Within the last couple of minutes or days or whatever, Future and Metro Boomin have now linked up with J. Cole. And they just came out with a super duper soft project. Great for the strip clubs.
Lovers and Friends, the sequel?
No, it's not even that. It's I forgot what the hell it was called. But he just came out with it, and it initially was like supposed to be a diss against dissing. And it's if you like Future, you might like it. They came out with a whole 25 song, Metro Boomin making the beats, Future doing most of the like rapping, if that's what we call it, and then he's got the guy from The Weeknd in there, and J. Cole somewhere in there. It's 25 songs. I've checked it out.
I like music. I like good music. You know what I mean? This ain't a clapback project. This is just a project.
They acted like it was, but it's not.
Is this
even
a We All in the Same Gang project?
No, it's not even that. It's for the strip club, basically.
Oh,
like it's about.
I heard it and I love it.
It is definitely strip club certified. I will say it.
And J. Cole's rapping on it?
I didn't even hear J. Cole rapping on it. I didn't make it that far in the song. Let's just say I'm not a big fan of Future, so 25 songs of him was like, it was hard for me to digest.
I don't know. Future, I guess I was kind of against it at first, but
no,
that song with him and Drake, man, when they
with that Good Life or whatever it's called, yeah,
that was cool,
man.
That was cool.
When that beat came in and Future started working that damn beat, bro.
Look, I can't be mad at him. No, he's got a wave. Yo, Future's got a wave. That whole new shit got a wave. Like, I can't be mad at a wave that's really popping.
He sounds like if you took one of them niggas to sit out front of the liquor store at Harbor's Choice and made them cool, that's how they would rap.
Well, it's like this. It's called We Still Don't Trust You. It's the name of the project. It's a 2-disc. If anybody buys discs anymore, it would take 2 discs.
I wonder who's the you.
I'm not sure, but now J. Cole is like linked up with him, and so it's like, so he apologizes, and now he's linked up with the people that initially he wasn't really linked up with.
As a culture, need to stop that, man.
Yeah, it's very.
What's wrong with a nigga apologizing for something if you?
There's nothing wrong with it. What I'm saying is the timing and the way that this new project is propped up.
But he sacrificed himself in front of that whole festival, like he fell on his own sword, and he didn't have to do that.
I understand why he did it. You know what I mean? I understand why he did it. He was being the bigger man. He was doing the thing, and I appreciate it on some grown man shit. I do appreciate that, so he can move on and do the rest of his projects and shit. But yeah, but as far as MC to MC, you know what I'm saying? Somebody just clap. You know what I mean? Just clap me. You know what I mean? Pause. You know what I mean? But somebody just get at me like that on track. You know what I mean? Oh, I paused it. I pre-pause, baby. But you know, and then I don't answer.
Do you think that he became a sorry ass nigga? I don't want to say it like that. Do you think he apologized because of the clapback he was afraid that's coming?
No,
he wanted to move on and sell units.
Lamar could definitively prove that he is the big me.
Yes, there's no doubt that he could do that.
Yo, Drake and Kendrick would literally be walking him right into the throne.
Well, I don't feel that way. I feel like the whole thing was attached. I feel like the whole thing was really just attached to the publicity and the fact that both of these segments of artists, not talking about Kendrick per se, but I'm talking about Future, Metro Boomin, and J. Cole, all already knew they had projects coming out. 25 songs don't happen overnight. 12 songs don't happen overnight. So this has been going on for months that they've been recording these projects and just didn't say nothing about it.
Future don't want that smoke with Kendrick, though. I'm going to tell you that. It's not a clapback project. Future do not want that smoke.
Man, I'm telling you right now, Future's not even...
Future and Kendrick were on the song, so they're good.
I'm going to tell you right now that Kendrick and Future, I don't know what's going on, but I think the whole thing was so that everybody was looking at them when they dropped some shit. That's really how I feel. Because really, Future music to me, if you like Future, you'll probably like this project.
You can't handle the truth.
If you're not like a, oh my God, I love Future type of person, it'll just be like, all right, dude, like Bricks would say, get another joke. It's the same.
Well, Kendrick's coming back with a 64 song LP just directed at Future called Pay for Your Babies.
This is like 40 songs right here, right? What, 25 plus 12, that's 37.
I'm dropping an 80 song AP this
happened in the last
Friday. Okay.
It's actually one song, but it's 4 hours, no breaths.
No, Future's talking to nothing but the women.
And he's only releasing it on Laserdisc.
Yeah, I gotta
Busta Rhymes pops up with that. And then I gotta go. And then I gotta get it. And then I gotta go. And then I gotta do it. Then I gotta.
Excuse me, Buzz. Every third word was nigga. I have to call.
It sound like a goddamn chainsaw. Nigga. All right, can we get to the bitches,
guys, please? Right now.
Oh, yes. Hey.
Better? Do you guys know who this is?
I feel like I do.
I think I need... I don't know her yet, but I need a deep, intimate knowledge of who this is.
Right.
Well, this is Kat Graham. Kat Graham was from the Vampire Diaries show. You ever seen that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I do recognize.
Was she a vampire? Was she on Team Suck?
Yeah, she was sucking it. And
she is absolutely good.
Yeah, that's amazing, yo.
I didn't know. And speaking of baddies, since we have this Kat Graham thing going, we're coming up on a certain number of episodes and we're going to have to do an ultimate baddie vote at some point. So we'll put that out in the poll.
Speaking of that, my girl
Esther Rowe, number 1.
Next week.
Who has what next week?
My girl has a recommendation for Baddie in the bright.
Okay, well, we're going to talk about that.
Yo, shout out to Miss Bricks. Throwing in baddies into the mix.
She brought up the Nelly Furtado.
Yes.
Yeah, Nelly was a good one. Yeah. So, Miss Kat Graham here, like I said, I just wanted to bring y'all's attention to her. If you've never seen her before, I had only seen her on the show.
You see that face? It's a young face, but it doesn't look like a little girl. She looks like a woman. It's just beautiful.
Stop trying to prove that point, man.
Look at it. I'm telling you. I'm going to say it every time.
Yeah, she bad. She bad, man.
I think you protest a little too much. Hold on now.
Let me take this away before
I need you to show us your browser history.
Woo, boy, you should see some of the files I got now.
Man, fuck out of here.
What the fuck is wrong with this nigga? That's your man. That's your man.
Hey, who is this? Oh, man, is this?
All right.
Guys, you're not going to believe this one.
Uh-oh.
You're not going to believe this one. I can't put the picture up for y'all at this moment.
Okay.
But viewers, you're going to see it right around now in the edit. But I got to tell y'all the story.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Look at the ass on that one.
Oh, my God.
No, don't do that. This guy. All right, hold on. Let me tell you about this nigga, man. Before you lose it. This gentleman recently got. His name is Stephen Masalta.
Okay.
And Mr. Masalta was recently arrested for a string of indecent exposures for having sexual contact with the food at the Safeway that he worked. So now
at the Safeway?
safe way. Now, he was caught ejaculating on food. He was caught nestling with it. I guess that's putting it in his lower regions. And he has caught 14 counts of indecent exposure, 2 counts of attempted indecent exposure.
Oh, he couldn't even do it. He didn't even make it.
Right. He was attempting to be indecent and somehow it wasn't indecent. Like, that wasn't too bad.
I tried. Damn it.
No, hold up. He got 4 other counts of unlawful sexual contact. So apparently you cannot penetrate the produce. Okay?
I know what his
That
defense
ruins
is.
all my plans for the weekend.
Well, the whole thing is he's going to
So-
blame it on childhood trauma because his mama always told him to eat his fucking vegetables. And so
Right.
he didn't understand the conjugation.
Let me throw some perjury on it.
There you go.
All right. First of all, this guy got 14 counts.
Mm-hmm.
And they said this was over a 2-month period of time. Why was he not arrested the first time this happened? Why did it take 2 months of people watching him jerking off on the food and having
Maybe
sex
they
with
thought
the
he
chicken?
was, one of them.
Because people like See the Truth have a clean arrest record.
What do you
So
say?
nobody knows what people are doing in public now.
Attracted persons, the produce attracted persons.
No, I mean,
Pap
one
smear.
of them people.
Smear.
Pap smear.
Yo. So I had to bring this to you because when I saw it, I said, what the? So when I see things like that, I know it must be purgeable.
Like,
I gotta bring
okay,
it
here,
up, 'cause
I'll
I couldn't
explain what
believe
I'm
it when I
saying.
seen it.
Like,
What do you say?
so one time I went to Colorado and I was driving down the street with a friend of mine, and there was a woman standing in the middle of the street screaming bloody murder, but she was completely naked. But this wasn't like a woman running from an abuse. This was a woman who did not know she was in the middle of the street completely naked.
What was she yelling about?
It's just like, I don't know. I didn't ask.
Black
her.
man in Colorado standing next to a screaming naked woman is not a good look.
But it's not like she didn't look like, I don't know. She didn't look like Beyonce. She looked kind of like she looked bad, and people were just walking around her or driving around. It was like, oh, she's one of them people. The problem is charges start to get involved when you find out this person is not one of them people. Like this is something that somebody we would deem as normal, but they're doing abnormal things, so they must go to jail. But we'll drive by crazies all the time and not think anything.
But that's not how we're
Somebody
like,
jerking off on produce in the store.
Right. They're not okay.
Mm-hmm.
They're not okay.
They're not okay.
Right, Bricks. See, but that's the whole thing. You can't look at it through your lens and my lens, because you remember one time we're hanging out in Silver Spring. We are half drunk sitting outside of the fucking pool hall, and we see that car speed across that light, hit several mailboxes, a light post, spin out, hit another car. We didn't even finish our cigarettes. We dropped it and ran to the car. That's what we did.
Nice.
So you can't judge it on your own perception. A lot of people just don't want to get involved. A lot of people just don't want to get involved.
If you saw a guy jerking off on the food, what would you do?
I would be like, yo, can you not do? I'll bring attention to it. I'm like, yo,
would you stop him?
I'm not touching no man with his junk
Handle
out.
the truth.
Oh,
Because
I'm just saying.
That's the first way you get invited to
but
Diddy's
what I'm
party.
saying is this: humans normally don't tend to give a shit about anything that could be deemed crazy unless it affects you.
Okay.
No, I don't think that. I think that's how it is now.
I'm going to
I think that's what
explain
it is
right now. If we were walking down the street right now, like let's say we had just parked and we were going to go walk into a club, right? And in an alleyway, there's a man jerking off on some fruit. We just walk a little faster to where we're going.
That's not an aisle 15.
We
Bro.
don't-
That's
not
an
in the
alley.
supermarket.
And that is my exact point. We only give a shit about crazy shit if it directly affects us. If it is affecting my produce, then something needs to be done.
That's the truth. That's when you do something. When somebody just like to jerk off on dumpsters, I'm gonna leave them to it because I think they're dumpster sexual. That's fine. Whatever. You know what I mean? I'm gonna leave them alone. That ain't fucking up my shit.
I might throw something at the motherfucker because what happens if some kids walk by? I don't want them to see that.
I would give that dude a strong, hey, what the fuck you doing?
Hey, look, man, close up shop. Close up shop.
I'm gonna need you to holster the trouser snake. There are kids here.
I ain't gonna lie. I would
the kielbasa.
I'm gonna be real. You know what I would do?
I
would become physically involved, and I would kick the shit out that.
That's because you're 8'17". That's the only reason.
No. See that's still. All right, now think about it like this, man.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care how big you are. You don't want to get into an altercation with a naked man.
I will kick the shit out that naked man.
I go straight, yo. When somebody, like, if a crazy man is running at me with no clothes on,
you know what I mean?
I turn into a bitch and start running away immediately. I'm not trying to shoot the fair one with dick and balls.
Let me tell you right now. You know just as well as I do, if a man is in the process of busting the nut, he is vulnerable. Okay, and I will kick the shit.
While he's jerking,
when he's in there jerking, doing that shit, man, I will.
No, that's commencing the nuts process.
Hey, commencing the nut, ejaculating, whatever you want to call it. There's a good 10 seconds. This nigga's like the force field is down. Yo.
Hey, man,
the crazy force field is down.
Yo, but he's definitely not running at you.
Prunes, nigga, you will be in the prunes, fucking with me.
In the prunes.
Yo, have you ever seen a prune
up in the refrigerated? Right, up in there with the little racks and shit. You'll be up in that shit with the pitted prunes in the can.
Right, the dried apricots.
That shit.
And the minced garlic.
Right, in the middle of the aisle. Not even at the end, like in the middle, just crumpled up. Please.
Gonna have you over there with the frozen shrimp.
I'm just saying, me personally. Now, I wouldn't go slap him on the dick or nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, you took it to Gay Street. I just gotta be honest with you. And it's okay if that's what you do. If that's what you do, but I mean,
no, I didn't say that's what I would do. I'm just saying that's what I would not do.
Okay.
I want you to tell me more about what you would do.
I was talking about where Marvin lives, by the way.
See, now my lighter not light.
Mm-hmm.
You got me upset.
You can't get flamed up?
Now, this guy's got a lot of charges, but I speaking of charges, I got another story that came at me today that y'all not believe.
Mm-hmm.
In Vietnam, a woman got sentenced to the death penalty for fraud. Like just fraud.
What was the fraud about, though? I mean, I think it's wrong, but what was the fraud about?
She took some loans out on some properties and had some people on the inside underwrite the loans for higher amounts than they should have been, and she got like $4 billion out of it.
Billion. Okay, all right, cool. I can't be mad.
Sentenced this woman to death.
She had a good run. She had a good run while she had the money.
Here's the funny part. They gave her a $27 million fine that she still has to pay. Like, would you pay that? I'm not paying that. Y'all sentenced me to death.
Yo, while she had that money, she lived more life than the average person. So I can't say that it's right, but I'm gonna tell you, if you get caught flying into Singapore with a dime bag in your pocket, you're getting put to death.
You can't handle the truth.
It was 44 billion, not 4 billion.
Wait a minute, 44 billion of whose money?
Other countries' money.
It said Saigon Commercial Bank.
Yeah, of Vietnam's money. Yeah, she was doing fake loans.
I guess it's billion. That's a lot of money.
Look, she was living a great life until she got caught. So, you know what I mean? Leave a good looking corpse. Fuck it.
How do you have 44 billion and stick around?
In the same country that you taken from their main bank, which was Saigon Bank, and this is in like Vietnam. So
I'm like, how do you have 44 billion and not have 17 passports?
No, what she did was she funneled it out through a bunch of businesses, so the money was hers, but she had like fake aliases and all types of stuff. So really, she was controlling, like, let's say 15 or 20 companies individually by one person. But
okay, after the first billion, does she really need to be in country to do it?
Saying.
This is exactly what I'm saying. 44 billion. That's enough to at least not get on a shuttle, but to build a few shuttles.
No, that's enough to buy your own country with no extradition.
No,
you know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. But she could have gone to Mars. She could have gone to the moon or to Antarctica, where it's probably nice.
Oh, yeah, she could have hit out of one of them earthquake beds.
She literally, and she went down. 85 other people went down with her.
Yeah. You can't live 44 billion on your own.
But then she was the only one that got the death penalty. So they got a bunch of other people.
That is some pretty fucked up shit. You know what really grinds my gears?
Can you say what the fuck did I do last night?
No, bad idea. Don't do it.
There goes that bull.
Oh,
in that China shop.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
You know what?
Well, isn't all of that money insured? Or is that just FDIC in America?
FDIC maxes out at $250,000 in the United States.
That's per customer.
Yeah, per customer.
Well,
but everybody.
But she's the customer.
But everybody. No, but she was stealing from that bank, so that means everybody was affected.
Yeah.
Well.
And everybody.
I don't think Vietnam has
250,000 goddamn.
Yeah, how'd she get 44 billion?
I don't know how that works.
I think that's why they wanted to kill her, because they're upset. Because they look like idiots.
Sounds about right.
They look like idiots.
That sounds about
but
right.
I don't even think her death fixes that. Did they get the money back?
No, and they only charged her 27 million in the fine. That's what I'm saying. So she got 44 billion over a period of 11 years. And they only charged her as a fine 27 million in her life. So what's worth more, I guess. But they won't put her to death until she pays off the 27 million. So she'll probably just pay like $1.
Was she in jail? Like, is she?
Yeah, she's in jail now.
So how's she gonna? Man, she must have a banging ass body, because she gonna have to hustle that.
Man, if she had money like that, if they didn't find all of it, then that means she still got money like that.
Of course, it's 44 billion, yo.
Billion.
They probably slapping her
definitely
up.
got money
everywhere.
They slapping her face every night.
Well, this just happened. This happened like earlier today. She just got sentenced. It was like the crime of the century over there. We didn't even hear about it.
Man, anybody that stole 44 billion is the crime of the world, yo.
Yeah, and we didn't even hear about it. You see what I'm saying? So it's interesting how we get cut out of certain information.
Well, probably because I would venture to say that $1 is probably worth like 100,000 over there.
What was it? US dollars or was it Vietnam baht?
It says it might be baht. Then hold on.
Yeah. This heist might have been worth $4.
Yeah, exactly. It's worth like Bazooka Joe in a hug.
Billion. I'm looking. It's on BBC. The shit.
I don't mean like a physical hug. I mean,
because man, I've been watching Facebook here recently, because that's where I get most of my news.
Okay, yeah, it's
bot.
Yeah,
the dong.
And so.
Yeah.
But look, man,
44 billion dong.
Still 4 billion. 4 billion.
Okay.
4 billion dong. That's a lot of dong.
Can I finish what I'm saying? So
we were talking about dong over here.
Right. All right, pause.
That's a lot of dong.
But anyway, as I was saying, Facebook, my source of news, as other Americans as well.
Yeah, why trust anything else?
Exactly. So, but on Facebook, they're like in Vietnam, places like that, man, they have access to crabs with bodies that are like damn near 12 inches wide. Like one crab is enough for you to not make it all the way through that crab and be like, man, I'm stuffed. So, when you look at countries like that, like, I'm like, man, if I go over there with $100,000, I'd probably be a big baller, yo. So that's why I asked you, is it 44 billion American?
It was 4 billion American.
It's 4 billion American dollars?
Yeah, 4 billion American.
Oh,
but it was 44 billion dong or whatever their shit is over there. inside.
That's
or
a
in
lot of
Vietnam.
money.
Yeah, so that's a lot of money. I mean, any of us would be lucky to see 1 billion in our entire lives of working.
Lucky, you'd be
You know what I'm
lucky to
saying?
see
Just
$1 million
add up every year. Well, you'll see $1 million if you work 20 years at $50,000 a year.
No,
so
you'll make $1 million, but you won't see it. It'll just be
you won't see it.
It funneled its way through, and this is the total amount that you actually made. Man, if you didn't have bills, it'd be a little different.
Yeah, but you'd still end up spending it. So
I'm sorry. What are we talking about? I lost track after all the 44 billion dome. What happened?
You got wrapped up in the dong, huh?
I'm just saying, it was just a lot of dong happening, and I just shut my brain down. I was like, I can't handle all this dong talk.
Nah, we were talking about when people say, how much did you make in your lifetime? You know, okay, well, you made $1 million, but, you know, with bills and mortgage, all that stuff, you didn't see it. You
didn't see it. It was there.
It's the old adage. It's not how much you make, it's how much you keep.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
kept $1 million pennies.
The funny part was this is the funny part.
That's a lot of money.
I wanted to get you guys' opinion on whether or not the death penalty was too strict, or you felt that it would be too strict for a fraud case. There wasn't anybody killed in this.
Well, if it's
what
not
your religious belief is.
If it's not first world, they need to have some kind of hard stuff to stop, like despots and like militias and some of the harder shit that happens that doesn't happen in first world countries. They need some kind of deterrent. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it's right, but they got to figure out what it is. You know what I mean? Death might be a little harsh for us, for our standards here, but over there,
you know, all right. So look at it like this. You ever heard someone speak on how they feel after having murdered someone? They're fucked up about it. Like, you can watch documentaries about it. They're not.
It depends on the person, though.
You say that, but it's always the first one that kind of fucks them up. Maybe people
depends on the
people
person.
Hard. Yeah, but it also depends on if they're telling you the truth. But I think that God put that kill switch. I mean, I believe in a higher power. I think the reason why, well, let's just say 8 out of 10 people tend to be really disgusted, or even the people that you're talking about, sooner or later end up having nightmares. It's not something that's normal. So what I'm saying to you is, do I believe in the death penalty? My thing is this. I feel like some people probably deserve it, but I feel like as humans, when we make ourselves so important that we can decide a person's fate, whether it's, live or die, that's a dangerous, dangerous position to put yourself in.
So you rather pay for them for the rest of their life in the box?
We're gonna pay.
I'm not saying that.
I know, but what's the other choice? You can't just say I don't want to do this.
Playing God is.
No, that's not the other choice. Playing God is a choice that you said that is a dangerous game. But the other choice, not killing somebody, then they have to be somewhere and pay for their crime, which makes us pay for them to live for the rest of their life.
Not exactly.
Hold on.
We choose to do that. Now, I'll explain to you what I mean.
What's the other choice then?
I'm going to give it to you right now. Okay.
Pause.
So, yeah, pause. You're right. I should have known better. However, okay, if you were to put someone in an area where they had to grow their own food, they were just there. I mean, now again, you probably would have to pay a staff just to kind of keep watch, but as opposed to paying everybody's 3 hots in a cot every day. No, we're not doing that. We can drop some seeds and you have to cultivate, but you have to live in this facility, but you grow your own food and basically Dionysian living and, you blanket, whatever you got to do to make
How big would that facility need to be to facilitate all of the people that we choose not to kill?
It depends, because I don't think it's that. I mean, there's a lot of people on death row, but ain't that many compared to General Pop.
compared to General Pop, but if everybody got their own mini farm, it'd be a goddamn state.
Plus, think about a whole bunch of death row inmates. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about that, bro. Like, they'd probably end up killing each other anyway.
So the question becomes, and I guess we don't really have an answer for it, is the death penalty, do we believe it to be a good thing? Now, I understand what you're saying, Bricks, about like,
I'm not saying it's a good or bad thing. I'm just saying, like Bravo spoke earlier when he said things are based off of your perspective. So yes, from my perspective, I don't want to ever be in a position where I decide whether a heart beats or not.
Do you know that they actually tried it your way already? And it's called Australia?
They did what?
They tried it your way already. Take the criminals away, don't kill them, put them on some land and see if they can fend for themselves. That's called Australia. It was a prison colony.
Yeah, well, it's got some nice stuff going on down there.
And every animal there can kill you.
Yeah, but hey, you know.
I mean, because that, look, what you're ultimately saying is if you've done something that puts you onto death row, then what they're saying is this person is not fit for society. And I think that was, that probably was determined before any of this happened. Nobody said anything. But then again, there's like the Jeffrey Dahmers and.
But even a cool story, even the Bible says eye for an eye and all of that shit, and we don't do that.
Now I don't know. The Bible says turn the other cheek. I think it's the Quran. Maybe that's the eye for an eye.
Oh, that's in both.
Either way, I don't want to get caught up in that. I'm just simply saying, yes, there are certain cases where I think maybe it's appropriate. I wouldn't want to make the decision, but I will say this. If someone messes with a child, or at least most of us know going into that, you are ruining this child's life the minute this starts. So you've already basically killed their happiness and joy where they got to be in therapy and it's just never going to be right. That's why there's no statute of limitations on that, because the scars that are created will continue perpetually. And then could affect their children. So
there's no statute on child stuff, because I thought the only one that didn't have statutes was murder.
No, if you commit that, that's how R. Kelly and them got caught. The woman was overage later. You know what I'm saying?
No, I'm not talking about when the victim ages out. I just thought from the crime to when it's prosecuted, I thought there was a statute on that.
Nah, not on that. There's no statute on grape. There's no statute on grape. So if it's considered that, then it's the same as murder.
Well,
it depends on the flavor of grape, because it could be statutory.
No.
It could be statutory.
Like Bravo. So you brought up. You said, well, then if not that, would you rather pay for it? So to answer your question, because I didn't then, to me, life is more important than that dollar. Now, do I want to pay for it? Well, I mean, right now, as a collective, we're paying for congressmen to have $40,000 office makeovers every time they get elected. So, I'm just
talking about the prisoners, man. I'm just talking about prisoners.
I get it.
I can't get money. I know me. I don't like to funnel off. I like to talk about the thing.
But it's all part of the same money pot.
But you
have
taxes.
But the only way you whittle this shit down is by being laser focused on the thing and weeding that thing out. Because if you sit there and look and focus on, and if you sit there and practice whataboutism, nothing ever gets done.
Okay, so let's
get real then.
Let's actually do what you said. Okay, so if I have to pay for said inmate, right?
Mm-hmm.
It depends on what they got to go through. Because if you're going to spend the rest of your days in a very small cell that's got about an inch of cold, muddy, disgusting polio water on the floor, I might not be against that, but what I'm saying
yeah, sign me up. I'm all about that. That's why I wanted to ask.
That is really what it is. Like, jail ain't no fucking cakewalk, especially not for the rest of your life.
I'm talking about that. Is it Arizona or Texas, the Angola prison?
That's just the shit they show you on TV.
No, what's that prison? What's that prison when they're outside in tents? What's that prison when they're outside in tents and shit, and they got to do work every day? That kind of shit.
That's called a work camp.
No. It's a whole ass prison. I think it's called Angola prison. I can't remember what state it's in, but yeah, that hard life shit. Fuck yeah, I'll pay for that. Hell yeah, I'll pay for that.
That's what anybody that's doing life or is on death row is not living no good ass life. So they might as well just stay there until they either get killed by somebody else there or they just die anyway because they weren't fit for society. I don't think.
All right, here's the happy medium. Here's the happy medium.
Decision,
we don't kill them, but when they get convicted, we tell the snitch on the block that they in there for some kitty shit. And then the problem will work itself out.
That's what I was also saying. Like some of the child offenders, they're not going to have a good time anyway.
Oh yeah. Get rid of Punk City. Get rid of Punk City, and this shit'll work out.
I mean, like based off of what you said, John.
God can bless a hot mess. Amen.
That was.
I'm very happy to be here.
Turn around, ladies, for me, please.
God didn't say the last part of that, though.
Okay, he did not.
Okay.
We're going to keep it real simple here because I didn't have anything specific today.
Well, then that was the closer because it's time to go.
It is time to go. It is definitely time to go. Like, subscribe, do that shit.
Right, do it.
Bang.
Don't be leaving no janky ass comments, bruh.
Hey, keep it in the comments.
Fuck them comments.
Find those comments. Fuck that shit. I ain't in there, yo.
Can't say that.
I'm already persona non grata, yo.
Put them in the comments. We love them in the comments. We love them.